Well, it's October 12th, beautiful fall day. We still haven't had our first frost. I'm up at the southern end of the island going to do a relatively long hike in the Roosevelt Park. I think I've done this one several times before. I think it measures something like 15 kilometers. Anyway, right now I'm standing in the parking lot of the closed Tourist Information Bureau, looking down at Lubac, Maine, and the Roosevelt International Bridge that joins Campobello to the mainland. That's the Tourist Information Center. And that's me parked at the back of the parking lot here. You see those two blue posts. The trail begins there, and that's Roosevelt Parkland once you go through those blue posts. I'll take a few clips along the way and put this together into a little movie and add it to YouTube this evening. Well, I've just come in from the main highway, as the sign indicates, and I'm headed down towards Cranberry Point. The walk won't actually take me to Cranberry Point, but down in that way, and then I turn off towards Eagle Heath. This interests me, these red dots. They're an accepted sign, I guess, in New Brunswick. It supposedly means no hunting. I don't know if any of the seasons are open yet. Deer hunting will open up in a week or two, I guess mid-October. Less than that, I guess now, probably a few days it'll open up. But I don't understand quite what the park does. Last year they put up a lot of these red dots, and I was quite relieved, thinking, great, there'll be someplace that I can go walking during hunting season. Come the actual deer hunting season, they changed all the red dots to, I think it's yellow, which means hunting with permission. So, same as they've always done here. You go to the park administration building and they, no charge, they just register you and give you a fee and you can go hunting in the park. But I don't understand why they start with the red and then later on change to yellow, but that's what they do. Most of the trail that I'll be walking today, I guess practically all of it, is like this, little gravel roads. There are miles and miles of wood trails, just paths through the forest that go to different destinations, but we've had so much rain, there's a lot of places in there that tend to get boggy and wet this time of year, so today I'm going to stick to these little one-lane roads out through most of the natural area in the park, and connecting to the Glen Severn Road, which is a provincial highway, but it's just another dirt road, and it separates the two parks. One side is Roosevelt International Park, and the other side of the Glen Severn Road is the Herring Cove Provincial Park. Well, this is the point where I turn off. I don't go down to Cranberry Point, but give you a little glimpse down the trail here. That area there is called the Fox Farm. There are no buildings any longer. I guess it's sort of a cellar depression where the farmhouse would have been, but sometime back in the 1800s, I guess, there was an attempt at raising foxes here. I'm not sure who owned the farm, but the area is still called the Fox Farm anyway. And I'm going to continue out this trail off to my left here. It says Liberty Point Drive, 3.7 kilometers, and that's the next section that I will be walking. I won't be going to Liberty Point, but the 3.7 kilometers refers to where the beginning of the Liberty Point Drive is. So that's where I will turn off onto the Glen Severn and head back from where I came. This is the trail stretching out in front of me again. This is a relatively new trail. I say relatively. It was built, I think, in the 70s. The American Army came here 2 or 3 summers in a row, the Corps of Engineers, some sort of just for exercises or whatever, but as part of what they did, they built this trail through, almost 4 kilometers through on the back of the island. I've been complaining for a couple of weeks now about the lack of fall color, so when I do see a bit of it I have to stop and take a picture of it, I guess. I don't know, different people are saying it's because of the relatively dry summer that we had, or toward the end of August there we had a week of extreme heat, a real heat wave, unusual for us. And a lot of the leaves turned brown and fell off in August. But I don't know what's causing it, but anyway, there isn't much color this year. I often notice this old birch tree when I walk out here. Get a look at the base of it here, it's very interesting. All of its big old roots are above ground. Some of them as big around as tree trunks themselves. I suspect in the center there somewhere it's growing over the top of a large boulder, but obviously it's been doing it for, I don't know, 100 years or more. I guess that's a big tree. It's been a great fall for mushrooms or toadstools or whatever they are. I ordered a field guide to mushrooms several weeks ago. It still hasn't arrived yet. They send something what they call media mail in the States. Cheap rate for books. It takes a long time. Going over to check my mailbox later this afternoon. Hopefully I'll be able to find out which one of these I can eat and which one would kill me if I tried. I always am amazed by this particular spot too. I don't know how well it shows up on video here, but it's just a very large rock covered with green moss, and trees have managed to root themselves in it everywhere. This is the back of Eagle Hill Heath, a large bog, takes up many acres. I've got about 20 minutes to a half hour more walking on the trail before I get around to the other side of the heath, where there is a boardwalk and a lot of park benches and whatever. I plan to stop there for a picnic lunch. Now, I've come a few hundred meters off of the sort of circular route that I was on that would take me back to my car, just so I could show you that on Campobello you're never very far from the ocean. What you're looking at is Con Robinson Point, and you can see the bit of land behind that across the water. That's North Head on Grand Manan. It's roughly, I don't know, 12-15 miles from here, I guess, which shows up pretty good on a day like this. And this great bay here is called Herring Cove. I'm standing at Southern Head, and the water sweeps all the way around to Herring Cove Provincial Park over there, the campground and the golf course. And then out beyond, that body of land is called Eastern Head. This is on the western side of the island, facing Grand Manan. And I don't know if they show up at all, but there are several small islands across the water there. And those are the wolves. They're not really inhabited. I think there might be a cottage on one or two of them. Well, I'm now on the Glen Severn Road, which I guess I said earlier is a provincial road, a gravel road that divides the two parks. That's just a bit of Lake Glen Severn. This upper end of the lake is sort of cut off mostly from the other parts of the lake, mostly trees, but the lake itself is over a mile long, long and narrow, goes along a sandbar. That's just one small portion of it. This gives you an idea how the road divides the parks. On the left-hand side of the road is the Roosevelt International Park, and on the right-hand side is the Herring Cove Provincial Park. When you put the two parks together, I think there's over 5,000 acres. Well, what that's all about. I've made it around to Eagle Heath on the boardwalk, where I'm stopping to have my picnic lunch at one of the little benches here. Make my backpack a little lighter for the rest of the walk, I guess. water, a cheese sandwich, a can of kippers and crackers, and a brand new Cortland apple that I picked myself on Keswick Ridge last weekend. Well, I've had lunch. I'm back on the trail, headed back for the car. I'll show you another little glimpse of Lake Glen Severn. This is the larger side of the lake. I was showing you a small area first. And if you, up as far as you can see, there it turns off to the left, and that's where it becomes a long, narrow lake that follows along a sandbar just the other side of those trees. At the end there is the beach and the ocean. There's not very much separates the two. Well, I'm in on the last section of this particular trail that I've been doing today. I don't know, I suppose I'm about a kilometer and a half, 2 kilometers from where I left my car. Making fairly good time. I take into account that I stopped for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, I guess, for lunch, and several times to take photographs and whatever. Well, that's my car up ahead. I finished. And just about 3 hours and 10 minutes from the time that I left here. So I guess that's about typical of the way I walk, about 5 kilometers an hour. Anyway, it's been a beautiful day and a great walk in the park.